Terrell Jackson wheeled his yellow cleaning cart down the quiet hallway of Luna Station's biggest embassy building. The night shift was always peaceful here, just him and the humming machines that kept this place running. He'd been doing this job for 8 long years now, mopping floors and emptying trash while important people from different planets made big decisions behind closed doors. Tonight felt weird, though. Usually, there were still a few diplomats working late, their fancy shoes clicking on the polished floors. But now, nothing. Just silence and the soft buzz of overhead lights. Terrell pushed his cart around the corner toward the maintenance area. That's his favorite part of the building. No cameras, no bossy supervisors, just him and his thoughts. He was thinking about his wife Maya's birthday next week when he heard it. A soft sound, like someone trying not to cry. He stopped pushing the cart and listened. There it was again, coming from behind the big electrical panel near the wall. Terrell looked around. Nobody else was here. He could just ignore it and keep working. That would be the smart thing to do. Keep your head down, do your job, go home safe. But that sound, it reminded him of when his little nephew got hurt last summer. Scared and tried to be brave at the same time. Terrell parked his cart and walked toward the sound. Behind the electrical panel, in a space barely big enough for a person, he found her, an alien woman, curled up like she was trying to hide from the world. Her skin was deep purple, and had these amazing light patterns running across it, like tiny lightning bolts under her skin. But the lights were flickering weak now, like a phone battery about to die. She was hurt bad, even though she looked nothing like a human. Terrell could tell she was in trouble. Her breathing was all wrong, too fast and shallow. Her big golden eyes were closed, and she was shaking. "Hey there," Terrell said softly, the same way he talked to scared animals. "You okay?" Those golden eyes snapped open and locked onto his face. She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. When she saw his maintenance uniform, something changed in her expression. "Hope, maybe? Human," she whispered, her voice carrying a strange accent that made the words sound musical. You are maintenance worker, yes?" Terrell nodded. "Name's Terrell. What happened to you?" She struggled to find the words. "They hunt me. Bad people in my government, and yours too. They want to make deal with enemies. Kill many people if they succeed." Now, Terrell heard something else. Footsteps, lots of them, coming down the main hallway. Heavy boots moving fast. Security forces. The alien woman heard them too. Fear filled her golden eyes. "They find me, they kill me. Then they kill your people, my people. Please." Every rule Terrell had learned in his 8 years screamed at him to walk away. Don't get involved. Not your business. You're just a janitor. But looking at the scared woman, hurt and alone, he thought about his nephew again, about Maya, about what kind of person he wanted to be. "Can you walk?" he asked. She nodded, trying to stand. Terrell helped her up, feeling how light she was, like bird bones. The footsteps were getting closer now, and he could hear voices, security guards talking on their radios. "This way," Terrell whispered, guiding her toward a door marked, "Authorized personnel only." He used his maintenance key card, and the door clicked open. Behind it was a narrow tunnel filled with pipes and cables. The building's nervous system that only people like him ever saw. As they disappeared into maintenance tunnels, the alien woman grabbed his arm. "Thank you, human Terrell. You saved more than just me tonight." Terrell didn't know what she meant, but something in her voice told him his life had just changed forever. Above them, hidden in the corner where the wall met the ceiling, a small security camera blinked its red recording light, capturing everything. The tunnel was cramped and dark, but Terrell knew these paths like the back of his hand. He led the alien woman through twists and turns, past humming machinery and glowing control panels. She moved quietly beside him, those light patterns under her skin getting a little brighter with each step. "Where we go?" she asked as they walked. "Maintenance exit," Terrell said. "Leads to the old cargo docks. You can disappear from there." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Why you help me? You not know me. Could be trouble for you." Terrell thought about it. "My mama always said, when someone needs help and you can give it, you don't ask questions first." Behind them, far away now, they could hear shouting voices and running feet. The hunt was on, but they were already ghosts in the machine. Terrell barely slept that night. He kept thinking about those golden eyes and the fear in the alien woman's voice. When his alarm buzzed at 6 a.m, he dragged himself out of bed and got ready for another day of work. Maybe nobody would notice. Maybe everything would go back to normal. He was wrong. The moment Terrell walked into the embassy building, 2 security guards were waiting for him. "Terrell Jackson?" one of them asked, even though they both knew exactly who he was. "Yeah, that's me. You need to come with us. Now." They walked him through the same hallways he'd been cleaning for 8 years, but this time everyone was staring. Other workers whispered behind their hands. Some looked sorry for him. Others looked angry, like he'd personally betrayed them all. Director Williams was waiting in his office with a tablet in his hands and fire in his eyes. The man had never liked Terrell much, but now he looked like he wanted to throw him out the airlock. "Sit down, Jackson." Williams didn't look up from his tablet. Terrell sat in the uncomfortable metal chair across from the director's desk. On the wall behind Williams hung pictures of him shaking hands with important people from different planets. Terrell had always wondered what it felt like to be that important. "You know why you're here?" Williams finally looked up. "I helped someone who was hurt." "You helped a terrorist." Williams turned the tablet around. On the screen was security footage from last night, clear as day, showing Terrell helping the alien woman into the maintenance tunnels. Princess Kira of the Zeth Empire. She's wanted by her own government for treason. Terrell's stomach dropped. She said people were in danger. "She's a criminal, Jackson. And now, so are you." William stood up and started pacing behind his desk like a caged animal. "Do you have any idea what you've done? The Zeth Empire is our strongest ally. They keep the hegemony from wiping us out. And you helped their most wanted fugitive escape." The words hit Terrell like physical blows. "I didn't know." "You're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." William sat back down and started typing on his computer like Terrell had already stopped existing. The walk out of the building felt like the longest journey of Terrell's life. Every person he passed, every face he recognized from 8 years of quiet good mornings and polite nods, they all looked at him differently now. Some with pity, some with disgust. Some just looked away. Outside the embassy, news reporters were already gathering like vultures. Somehow, they'd gotten wind of the story. Camera lights flashed in his face as he tried to push through the crowd. "Terrell Jackson, is it true you helped a Zeth terrorist escape? Did you know Princess Kira was wanted for treason? Are you working with enemies of humanity?" Terrell kept his head down and pushed through without answering. The cameras followed him all the way to the transport station. At home, Maya was watching the news when he walked in. The headline on the screen made his blood run cold. "Luna Station Janitor helps alien terrorist escape. Humanity's alliance in jeopardy." Maya clicked off the television and hugged him tight. She didn't ask questions, didn't demand explanations. She just held him while he told her everything that had happened. "You did the right thing," she said when he finished. "Woman was hurt. You helped her. That's who you are, baby." But doing the right thing came with a price. Over the next few days, that price became clear. Criminal charges were filed against Terrell, harboring a fugitive, violation of security protocols, endangering human-alien relations. The legal fees would wipe out their savings and more. Maya picked up extra shifts at the medical center where she worked, coming home exhausted but never complaining. Friends stopped calling. Their neighbors avoided eye contact in the hallways. Terrell's brother called once to yell at him for bringing shame on the family name. The news stories got worse each day. Some called him a traitor. Others called him a fool who got tricked by alien manipulation. Late-night comedy shows made jokes about the space janitor who thought he could play diplomat. The worst part was the doubt that started creeping into his own mind. Maybe he was just a fool. Maybe Princess Kira had played him. Maybe he destroyed his life and Maya's future for nothing. Then, 3 days after he lost his job, the real news broke. Terrell was sitting in their small kitchen, staring at another rejection letter from a potential employer, when Maya burst to the door with her tablet in her hands. "Baby, you need to see this," she said, her voice shaking with excitement. The headline made Terrell's world spin. Zeth Empire military coup. Princess Kira was right about everything. The story unfolded like a nightmare. Princess Kira's cousin had staged a military takeover. The legitimate royal family was in prison. The new Zeth government had signed a secret alliance with the hegemony, humanity's deadliest enemy. Everything Princess Kira had warned about was happening. And now the new Zeth regime was demanding that humanity hand over Terrell Jackson for crimes against the Empire. They wanted him extradited to face what everyone knew would be execution. The man they called a fool had been right all along. The message came to Terrell's personal tablet at exactly midnight, 3 days after the news about the coup broke. He was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling and listening to Maya's quiet breathing beside him. Sleep had become impossible since everything started falling apart. The tablet buzzed once. A simple message with no sender name, just coordinates and one word. Truth. Terrell sat up carefully, trying not to wake Maya. She'd been working double shifts to keep food on the table while he fought criminal charges. The last thing she needed was him sneaking off in the middle of the night, chasing mysterious messages. But something about that single word pulled at him. Truth. After days of being called a traitor and a fool, after watching his life crumble while the news proved Princess Kira had been right about everything, he needed truth more than air. He slipped out of bed and got dressed quietly. Maya stirred but didn't wake. Terrell left a note on the kitchen table, just in case. Gone for answers. Back soon. Love you. The coordinates led him back to Luna Station, to a section he'd never seen before despite 8 years of working there. His maintenance card shouldn't have worked on these doors, but somehow it did. Each scanner beeped green, like the building itself wanted him to find this place. The final door opened into a room that took his breath away. It was like stepping inside a galaxy. Holographic displays filled the air, showing star maps, ship movements, and data streams in languages he couldn't read. But somehow, looking at it all, he felt like he was supposed to be here. Terrell Jackson. He spun around. Princess Kira stood in the center of the room, but not as he remembered her. Gone was a scared, wounded woman from a maintenance tunnel. This Princess Kira wore a military uniform covered in medals, her purple skin glowing with confident light patterns. She looked like someone who commanded fleets and decided the fate of worlds. "You're not really a princess, are you?" Terrell said. The hologram smiled. "I am Admiral Kira Zahn, Strategic Defense Commander of the Zeth Royal Fleet. Princess is my birth title, but I earned my rank through 20 years of military service." She gestured to the displays around them. "If you're seeing this recording, then my mission succeeded because you chose to help a stranger." Terrell felt dizzy. Mission? My escape was an intelligence operation. We knew about the coup attempt, knew about hegemony infiltrators in both our governments. I had to get captured, had to seem vulnerable, to draw out the traitors. The holographic Admiral Kira walked closer, but that was only part of the plan. The room around them changed. The star map shifted, showing massive structures scattered across the galaxy, things that looked like space stations but were clearly much older and far more advanced than anything humans or Zeth had ever built. 50,000 years ago, a species called the Ancients ruled this part of the galaxy. They were peaceful, like humans claim to be, like the Zeth actually are, but they faced an enemy much like the hegemony, conquerors who believed might makes right. Images flowed through the air showing battles between graceful ancient ships and massive, brutal-looking vessels. The ancient ships fought bravely but were clearly outnumbered. The ancients knew they would lose, Admiral Kira continued. So they built a defense network, weapons and shields powerful enough to protect an entire galaxy. But they didn't want their technology to fall into the wrong hands after they were gone. Terrell watched, fascinated, as the holographic display showed the ancient structures powering down, going dark across thousands of star systems. They programmed their network with a test. It would only activate for a species that proved itself through compassion, not conquest. For 50,000 years, it has waited for someone to pass that test. The display zoomed in on Earth, then Luna Station, then the exact spot where Terrell had found Princess Kira 3 nights ago. The network has been watching, learning, testing different species, warriors who showed mercy to enemies, merchants who shared food with strangers, doctors who healed without asking for payment. But it needed more than individual acts of kindness. It needed someone who would risk everything to help another being, expecting no reward, knowing it could destroy their life. Terrell felt his legs go weak. You're saying? Your choice to help me, knowing it would cost you everything, proved humanity worthy. The ancient network activated the moment you guided me into those maintenance tunnels. Admiral Kira's expression grew serious. But activation is only the first step. The network needs a coordinator, someone it trusts completely, someone who has proven themselves when no one was watching and everything was at stake. The holographic display showed massive hegemony fleets moving toward human space, toward Zeth territory, toward dozens of other worlds. Millions of ships carrying billions of soldiers. They come for everyone now. Terrell. Humans, Zeth, all the free peoples of this galaxy. The network can stop them, but only if someone it trusts takes command. Admiral Kira looked directly at him. It has chosen you. Terrell laughed, but there was no humor in it. I'm a janitor. I clean floors and empty trash cans. I don't know anything about commanding space weapons. The network doesn't care about your job title. It cares about your character. The hologram gestured to displays showing readouts and energy signatures that meant nothing to Terrell, but seemed incredibly important. Every scan, every test, every moment since you helped me, the network has been learning about you. Your compassion is genuine. Your courage is real. Your heart is pure. Footsteps echoed from the corridor outside. Director Williams burst into the room with a squad of security guards, his face red with anger and fear. Jackson, step away from that alien technology immediately. Admiral Kira's hologram turned to face Williams. Director, your government has been compromised. Hegemony agents have been feeding you false information about me, about this mission, about everything. I don't care what you are, Williams snarled. Jackson is a maintenance worker who violated every protocol we have. He can't be trusted with anything more dangerous than a mop bucket. The holographic admiral smiled sadly. That's exactly why the network chose him, Director. He proved himself when he had nothing to gain and everything to lose. Can you say the same? Terrell looked around the room, at the ancient technology, at the star maps showing enemy fleets, at Director Williams with his gun drawn, at the impossible choice laying before him, a maintenance worker from Luna Station, holding the fate of the galaxy in his hands. The network hummed around him, waiting for his decision. The room fell silent, except for the soft humming of ancient technology. Terrell stood in the middle of it all, feeling like the smallest person in the universe. Director Williams kept his weapon pointed at the holographic Admiral Kira, even though bullets couldn't hurt a projection of light. This is insane, Williams said, his voice shaking. You're asking us to trust a janitor with weapons that could destroy planets. Admiral Kira's hologram stepped closer to Terrell. The choice is yours alone. The network will only respond to you now. But understand what accepting means. You cannot stay on Earth or Luna Station. The ancient command ship exists outside normal space and time. You would be leaving everything behind. Terrell thought about Maya, probably still asleep in their small apartment, exhausted from working extra shifts to pay their bills. He thought about the life they'd built together, small but happy. Movie nights on their old couch. Sunday morning breakfast in bed. Her laugh when he told terrible jokes while doing dishes. For how long, he asked. The war against the hegemony could take years. Maybe decades. Time moves differently on the command ship, but from your perspective, Admiral Kira paused. You might never see your old life again. Williams lowered his weapon slightly. Jackson, listen to me. You're not qualified for this. You barely finished high school. You've never commanded anything bigger than a cleaning crew. This alien is asking you to coordinate a galactic war. He's right about one thing, Terrell said quietly. I don't know anything about commanding fleets or fighting wars. Relief flooded Williams' face. Exactly. This is bigger than you. Bigger than any one person. Let the Real military handle it. Let the people with training and experience make these decisions. Admiral Kira shook her head sadly. Your military leaders, Director Williams, have been compromised by hegemony infiltrators for years. That's how the coup succeeded in the Zeth Empire. That's how they've gotten so close to victory. She turned back to Terrell. The ancient network doesn't choose based on education or rank. It chooses based on something much rarer, the ability to do right, when doing right costs you everything. The holographic display around them shifted, showing Earth from space, beautiful and blue and so very small in the vast darkness. Then the view pulled back, showing the massive hegemony fleet approaching, like a storm cloud of death. 12 billion people live on your world, Admiral Kira said. 18 billion on the core Zeth worlds. Hundreds of billions across the free systems. The hegemony doesn't conquer. They consume. They strip planets bare and turn survivors into slaves. Terrell watched the display, seeing ship after ship in the enemy fleet, more vessels than he could count, each one carrying thousands of soldiers trained from birth to kill and conquer. Why me? He asked. There have to be other people who would help a stranger. Heroes, soldiers, people who actually know what they're doing. The network tested thousands over the centuries, Admiral Kira explained. Many showed kindness, yes, but kindness when it's easy isn't really kindness. It's just good manners. The network needed someone who would choose compassion when it would destroy their life. Someone who would help an enemy, knowing they'd be called a traitor for it. William stepped forward again. Jackson, think about your wife. You walk away now, you'll never see her again. Is saving the galaxy worth losing the woman you love? The question hit Terrell like a physical blow. Maya was everything to him. They'd grown up in the same neighborhood, dated since high school, built a simple but perfect life together. She was the reason he got up every morning, the reason he worked hard at a job most people look down on. Losing her would be like losing half his soul. But then he thought about what would happen if he said no. The holographic display was showing Earth's defenses, pathetic compared to what was coming. Humanity's greatest warships looked like toys next to the smallest hegemony vessels. If I don't do this, Terrell said slowly, Maya dies anyway. Everyone dies. Not necessarily. William said desperately. We can negotiate. Find a peaceful solution. We don't need ancient alien weapons to. The hegemony doesn't negotiate, Admiral Kira interrupted. They arrive, they conquer, they consume. It's what they've done to 47 different species over the past 1,000 years. The display shifted again, showing dead worlds, planets stripped of all life, their surfaces scarred and gray. Former homes of billions, now empty graveyards floating in space. Terrell closed his eyes and tried to imagine explaining to Maya that he could have saved her, saved everyone, but chose not to because it would mean leaving her behind. She'd be proud of him for choosing love over duty, right up until the moment the hegemony ships arrived. There has to be another way, he said. The network has waited 50,000 years for someone like you, Admiral Kira said gently. If there was another way, don't you think we'd have found it by now? Williams tried one more time. Jackson, you're one man. One maintenance worker from a nothing job on a backwater station. The fate of the galaxy can't depend on you. It's not fair. It's not right. Terrell opened his eyes and looked at the holographic admiral. If I say yes, if I do this thing, will we win? I don't know, she answered honestly. The ancient weapons are powerful, but the hegemony is vast. Victory isn't guaranteed. The only thing I can promise is that with you, we have a chance. Without you, everyone you've ever loved will die, and their deaths will mean nothing. The room fell silent again. Outside, Terrell could hear the normal sounds of Luna Station. People go about their lives, completely unaware that the fate of everything they cared about hung in the balance of decision being made by a man they'd probably never notice. Terrell thought about his nephew, who wanted to be a pilot someday, about Maya's patients at the medical center who trusted her to heal them, about all the ordinary people living ordinary lives, just trying to be happy and safe. He thought about the scared alien woman he'd found behind an electrical panel 3 days ago, and the choice he'd made then. Help a stranger, even if it costs you everything. Some choices, he realized, aren't really choices at all. They're just tests to see who you really are when everything is on the line. Terrell took a deep breath and looked one last time at Director Williams, who was still hoping he'd walk away from this impossible responsibility. Then he turned to Admiral Kira's hologram. "I accept." The moment the words left his mouth, everything changed. The room filled with light, not harsh or blinding, but warm like sunshine through a window on a perfect morning. Terrell felt the floor disappear beneath his feet, but instead of falling, he felt like he was being lifted by gentle hands. Director Williams shouted something, but his voice faded as the light grew brighter. The last thing Terrell saw of his old life was the security guards stepping back in fear as the ancient technology awakened around him. When the light faded, Terrell found himself standing on what looked like the bridge of a starship, but unlike anything humans had ever built. The walls curved like the inside of a seashell, made of some material that seemed to shift between metal and crystal. Through massive windows, he could see stars streaming past in ways that didn't follow normal physics. "Welcome aboard the Compassion," Admiral Kira said, but now she wasn't a hologram anymore. She stood beside him in her real body, her purple skin glowing with healthy light patterns. The ancient command ship has been waiting 50,000 years to wake up. Terrell looked around in wonder. The bridge was filled with displays showing star charts, fleet movements, and information flowing in dozens of different languages. But somehow, looking at it all, he understood. Not the details, not yet, but the big picture. This wasn't just a weapon. It was something far more powerful. "I can feel them," he whispered. Admiral Kira smiled. "The network doesn't just control ancient weapons, Terrell. It connects minds across the galaxy. Every being who has ever chosen compassion over convenience, kindness over safety, they're all part of it now." Through the network, Terrell could sense them. A Keth warrior named Braveclaw who had carried wounded enemies to safety during a border war, risking court-martial for showing mercy. A Valari merchant called Swift Song who had given her ships emergency food supplies to refugees, nearly starving herself in the process. Humans from Earth and Luna Station and distant colonies who had made small choices to help strangers when helping came at personal cost. How many? Terrell asked, overwhelmed by the sensation of thousands of minds touching his. Across the galaxy, nearly 50,000 beings who proved themselves worthy over the centuries. Each one tested, each one chosen for their character rather than their position or power. Admiral Kira moved to a control station that responded to her touch. They'd been waiting for a coordinator, someone the network trusts completely to bring them together. The main display showed the approaching hegemony fleet, a dark cloud of destruction heading straight for human space. But now Terrell could see something the enemy couldn't. Ships from dozens of different species moving into position. Not the official fleets of governments, but smaller groups led by those connected to the network. The governments don't know, Terrell realized. Most leaders are too proud or too compromised to accept help from a maintenance worker. Admiral Kira agreed. But these ships are crewed by people like you, individuals who choose to do right regardless of orders or politics. Through the network, Terrell felt their presence. A human cargo ship captain named Luis who had modified his vessel to carry weapons instead of freight. A Zeth medical officer called Healer of Wounds who had convinced their hospital ship crew to join the fight. A Valari engineer known as Builder of Hope who had turned his construction fleet into an improvised navy. The enemy arrived 3 days later, expecting to find scattered, disorganized resistance. The official human fleet was indeed scattered. Admiral Chang's ships were still trying to form proper battle lines when the hegemony forces swept down like vultures. The Zeth Royal Navy, what remained of it after the coup, fought bravely but was vastly outnumbered. It should have been a massacre. The news broadcasts were already preparing obituaries for human civilization. Instead, something unprecedented happened. At the moment when defeat seemed certain, 50,000 beings across the galaxy acted as one mind. The human cargo captain Luis didn't just attack the nearest enemy ship. He coordinated perfectly with Healer of Wounds to protect civilian evacuations while Builder of Hope's construction vessels used their industrial tools to tear apart hegemony cruisers. But it went deeper than coordination. Through the network, each being could feel what the others felt. The human pilots experienced the Keth warriors' fearless courage. The Zeth tacticians gained access to human adaptability and creativity. The Valari engineers shared their technological insights with everyone. The hegemony had never faced anything like it. Their entire battle philosophy was based on overwhelming individual enemies. They had no strategy for fighting a connected consciousness that spanned species and star systems. Terrell stood on the bridge of the Compassion, feeling the battle through 50,000 pairs of eyes, coordinating movements across hundreds of light years in real time. He wasn't commanding the fleet so much as helping 50,000 heroes work together as one. When the last hegemony ship fled back to whatever dark space they came from, the galaxy fell silent in amazement. The victory celebrations lasted for weeks, but Terrell barely noticed them. Through the network, he was helping coordinate relief efforts for war-torn worlds, establishing new trade routes between species who had never trusted each other before, and setting up communication systems that would prevent future wars through understanding rather than fear. 6 months later, the Galactic Council held its first session with representatives from every free world in the galaxy. When they offered Terrell a position as humanity's first representative, he accepted not as a former maintenance worker, but as someone who had proven that true leadership comes from the willingness to serve others. Maya attended the ceremony, wearing a beautiful dress and the proudest smile Terrell had ever seen. The ancient technology had found a way to slow his aging and allow him to return home between missions. He was still the same man who cleaned floors and made terrible jokes, but now he also helped coordinate peace between worlds. 50,000 years ago, he told the assembled delegates, the ancients learned something important. The greatest weapons in the universe aren't ships or bombs or ancient technology. They're compassion, courage, and the choice to help a stranger when helping costs you everything. The janitor who lost his job for showing kindness had become the bridge between species, proving that heroism isn't about power or position. It's about the simple decision to do right when no one is watching and everything matters.